Hello and welcome to Froch on Fighting with me, Carl the Cobra Froch, former unified super middleweight world boxing champion and international boxing Hall of Famer. This episode is brought to you by Cobra Casino. So it's been a quiet week in the world of boxing as we look ahead to the Saudi Arabia event on the 22nd of February. Beterbiev Bivol topping the bill with that amazing undercard. Really looking forward to that. So there's not a great deal to report. It's not been busy, but you know what? The Cobra's been busy. Froch on Fighting has been busy. I've been out to Dubai, been out to Saudi. I was down in London. I think it was the Royal Naval College. What an amazing venue that was. Beautiful building inside and out. And I was there for the Ring Magazine Awards. And when I got there with me, my producer, he's not a knobhead, he's sound, and a good friend of mine, Sonny, there was only three of us, we marched in and they sat me down right next to George Grovesy boy, my old mate, and his lovely wife. So we just sat there and watched the awards and enjoyed a really, really pleasant evening. But the room was full of a who's who in boxing. You look round and just, wherever you look, whichever direction, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Lennox Lewis, Teofimo Lopez, everybody with the Cobra was sat there, obviously, and people were staring at me. I was enjoying it. You know, people coming over for selfies, but the big name for me, when I've met him before, but when I see him, it's always a bit like he's the guy, he's the main guy in the room. I think you know what I'm going to say. Canelo Alvarez. I mean, this is a guy that everybody wants to get a picture with. Everybody wants to talk to. All the media and news outlets, they all want to go and get their little snippet with Canelo Alvarez. And a good friend of mine who I was there with, Sonny, one of my boys, I took him over to introduce him. And as I was walking over to Canelo, actually, it was like, right, am I going to get pied off here or what? I looked, I sort of, we glanced eyes on each other, we locked eyes, and straight away, he jumped out his seat. Of course he jumped out his seat. He came over, gave me a nice little handshake and a little hug, the chest pump hug. And I introduced him to my friend. I spoke to him actually for about a minute or so, just asked him how he was, asked him if he's enjoying, does he enjoy travelling from America to England, and he's been out to Saudi as well. I'm sure he's been out there. I saw him out there at the previous Ring Award, so he's done some travelling. He says he don't mind, obviously he travels with his feet up, doesn't he? Nice and chilled, probably in a private jet knowing him. But yeah, I introduced him to my friend Sonny, and he was so sort of polite and kind, and just, he had time for him. So it was fantastic that, you know, a guy with this presence in a room like this who everyone wants a chunk of. I think it was because the Cobra introduced him, the Hall of Famer, former super middleweight champ. Actually, I think he was sizing me up because we had a chat when he boxed Billy Joe Saunders out in Dallas a few years ago. We met there and had a small chat, but it was more on a work capacity because I was working for Sky Sports at the time. He was like looking up at me and shaking me hand and giving me a bit of a firm squeeze and kind of sizing me up. And I felt like he was like giving me he was looking down at my chest and back up to my head. And I feel like he's sizing, maybe it's a boxer's thing, but he was looking at me and sizing me up again. I mean, I'm retired. I'm not going to be coming back. Certainly not going to be jumping in with Canelo Alvarez. I'm not going to say I don't fancy my chances because he's about, 5'8", 5'9". I like to think that back in the day when I was a 12-round fighter, I'd have been all right with him. But anyway, he was having a good chat with my friend Sonny. He was such a nice guy, and he speaks better English than actually what I thought. He understands English very well. You ask him a question, he knows exactly what you've asked him, and he gives you an answer. He started to speak a little bit more English now, hasn't he, on his interviews and when he's doing his media obligations. But anyway, yeah, it was great to actually get a good chat with Canelo Alvarez and be in a room full of legends. And it wasn't long after that when I got hold of Lennox Lewis, my old mate as well. I've been out to Jamaica with him, and I did that interview on Froch on Fighting, the 12 rounds with Lennox Lewis. So if you've not seen that, get a look at that as well, because that's on there. It's uploaded onto the channel. But I mean, to be in the presence of all these people and to be acknowledged, I'm not bragging or boasting. I never do that. When do I ever brag or boast? But Teofimo Lopez was sort of on his way out down the stairs and out towards the corridor, going towards the streets, and he was keeping his head down. He's got his hat on and he's got his big like Crombie coat and he's got this fancy stick. And he's looking around, and he has these really dark shades, and he dropped the shades, and he sort of locked eyes on me and went, "Is that Carl Froch? Oh my God, my man!" Felt pretty good actually. Teofimo Lopez, the former undisputed champ, current world champion. He got his Ring Magazine belt then. He went to go and get his Ring Magazine belt out of his car. His driver had it in the back seat, and we had a little picture. So it was nice to have a little chat, a little catch up. Talked about how he fought Josh Taylor, and I was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame actually. I watched that on the big screen when he fought Taylor. So we just had a chat about that, and he said, listen, I love your channel, Froch on Fighting. I'd love to get on the channel. So it was great to meet Teofimo Lopez and get some love from him. And if you want, I'm going to get him on the channel, but let me know in the comments what sort of questions you want to know. What do you want to know about him? What else did I see? Day before, I bumped into Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, not together. I saw Ryan Garcia along with Oscar De La Hoya in the hotel. As I was leaving the hotel, I bumped into Devin Haney, and so yeah, I've been chatting away with Garcia, and then Devin Haney, I mean, they're arch rivals. Garcia beat him, didn't he? Give him a bit of a whooping. Well, he hurt him, didn't he? Give him a bad bit of a beat down, but then he failed that drugs test. So Haney's obviously tried to get the decision overturned. But me and Ryan Garcia, me and Devin Haney, we all exchanged contact details. It was nice actually, because these guys are probably, what are they, 15, 20 years, probably 20 years younger than the Cobra. And they're saying to me, Froch on Fighting, I love your channel. I'm like, thank you very much. Why don't you get on the channel? So we exchanged details, and they're just like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I know they weren't paying me lip service. They're 20 years younger than me, and it's nice to be, it's not nice to feel old, but it's nice to be respected by a younger generation and be sort of recognised and acknowledged as a former unified champ, Hall of Famer. And they've just got that respect. They're paying homage to the Cobra when I see them. And yeah, it felt good to be around all these different fighters. Like when I was chatting to Canelo Alvarez, I said to Canelo, are you still enjoying it? Because I know he's sort of at the back end of his career now, and he could easily retire. He's comfortable enough. He's made enough Bunsen burner to just turn it in. I mean, he's worth well over 100 million quid. So, but I said to him, are you still enjoying it? Do you still got love for the sport? And he understood what I was saying. He said, yes, I enjoy the training. I enjoy the fitness. And I'm like, with your weights, you've been up to light heavyweight. You're back down to super middleweight. You're looking at maybe fighting a catch weight with Terence Crawford. And he was just like saying to me, yeah, no problem, weight up, weight down. We've got some good beef in America. Not really, forget the beef. But you know what I'm saying? The guy goes up and down through weight, so not many top fighters can do that. It's amazing really how he can do it. I would worry if he's coming down too low to fight Crawford. I mean, if it's middleweight, I think that'd be too low, but I don't think Crawford should be going up to 168, up to super middleweight, because Crawford is not naturally that big. But both top fighters, I think that fight should be at a sensible catch weight, but he's looking forward to it, Canelo. He still loves boxing, still loves the training, still got that desire. And I could see by looking in his eyes, he's smiling, he's nodding, he's answering questions with conviction. So it amazes me that he's had well over 60 fights. He's been around for years, and he still loves it, still enjoys it. But I suppose if you're winning all the time, I know he lost to Mayweather, and he had lost to Bivol as well, but they're in close fights, aren't they, that he plays big parts, and he never really gets hurt. He never gets dropped, does he? So, I mean, just amazing, really, to be in the presence of greatness and just having a good chat with him. A little bit of a fanboy, I've got to be honest, with all these fighters, but I think it's mutual respect. But it was great. The Ring Magazine Awards, which is obviously part of the Riyadh season now. Turki Al Sheikh's bought the Ring Magazine. So he's trying to do big things with that and trying to he's getting it republished, but he's trying to make it all big. It's all good for boxing. Events like this, getting everybody together, making these big fights like the one in Feb 22nd. It's just a great time to be involved in boxing worldwide. Absolutely buzzing. So another thing I want to mention actually is about the beef with people. People are like asking me questions and commenting and saying, oh, what happens when Froch bumps into AJ, or Big John Fury, the fighting man, or Bricktop, or Eddie Hearn? I mean, not really give him any shit, let's be honest, but I stand my ground, don't I? I say what I think, I say my truth, and if you don't like it, tough shit, innit, really, let's be honest. But when I go to these venues and I go to these events, I do think to myself, actually, some people might have a point. Is he going to come on top? When Anthony Joshua sees me, is he going to smile and shake my hand, or is he going to run over and start causing beef? And obviously, Big John, which I've mentioned, Tyson, obviously Tyson wasn't there. I think AJ got there. But anyway, what I want to say was, when I was going to the venue, I was prepared. I mean, I'm not gonna not go somewhere because I'm worried that someone's going to start kind of arguing with me or have some kind of conflict with me, altercation, because I stand on my business, don't I? I sort my shit. I fear no man, fear no one. I just do what I need to do. But to be honest, I got there and I tied my shoelaces nice and tight. I got my watch in a good position. You know, I was all ready for action, but there was no problem. Anthony Joshua went there. I think he did a little red carpet, couple of pictures, and then he got out of there. And to be honest, I don't blame him, because he probably knew what was coming. I think it was knockout of the year that Daniel Dubois won the knockout of the year. So we saw Anthony Joshua get absolutely ironed out a couple of times on the big screen. So he was out of there. Tyson wasn't there. Big John wasn't there. But didn't see Bricktop either. I saw him at a distance, but never actually caught eyes with him. But if I did see him, I'd obviously be respectful. I'd go over, shake his hand, and exchange pleasantries. But there are a few things I want to ask Frank Warren. There are a couple of bits I want to talk to him about. I mean, his bullshit about Joe Calzaghe for a start. I'd like to talk about that. We have contacted his team and we have tried to get him on Froch on Fighting for an amicable interview, and he declined. So it's difficult to try and get these beefs resolved if somebody won't talk to you. But like I said, I go over, I'd be fine with him. There's no real problem. I'm not going to start having a beef with an old boy like Frank Warren, who's been around in the game years. He deserves respect, and he will get respect from me. But I'm not gonna not challenge him on some of his bullshit he's been chatting about. So it'd be nice to get Frank Warren on Froch on Fighting, clear the air, and move on, because there's only one bullshitter in this duo, and it ain't me. As well as seeing Bricktop, I also saw Eddie Hills, the Iceman, 6-0, 4 by way of, from Billericay. Anyway, I'm waffling now. Saw Eddie on the way out the building. It was me and Eddie will go back, don't we? Listen, we have done amazing things for each other. If I didn't meet Eddie at the end of towards the end of my career, I'd have never been back on Sky. Pay-per-view would have never been bought back. The Cobra bought pay-per-view back, by the way, with the Mikhail Kessler rematch. So I was great for Matchroom. He was great for the Cobra, and I think it's been acknowledged, and he's recently inducted me into the Matchroom Hall of Fame, which was really nice. So a big thanks to Matchroom for getting me on the get me in the Hall of Fame, the Matchroom Hall of Fame. I don't even know if it was a public vote, actually. Did it go to a public vote, or was it just the guys at Matchroom? I'll find out. But if it was a public vote, thank you. And if not, thanks to Matchroom. I'll be speaking to Eddie very soon. We're having a conversation. We've got a meeting. We've got a meeting penciled in. But let me know if you want to get Eddie on the channel. Let's get Hills on the channel. If you want it, let me know. So actually, talking about fighters sticking it on me because I've given them a bit of criticism, the only time I've actually had a fighter come up to me and challenge me, it was a little bit of an altercation, is Liam Smith. And I've got to literally pay respect to him. Liam Smith, respect due to you, my friend, because he came over and he challenged what I said following his fight with Chris Eubank Jr., the rematch, because I was like, he wasn't prepared, he shouldn't have took the fight, it's not right. And I was a bit pissed off because I was backing him to win like I did in the first fight. But regardless of who I thought was going to win, I just thought that the performance was bad, and I just didn't like to see him get beat like he did. But like he was trying to explain to me, he was injured. He didn't have the time he needed to get the weight off, so he crashed the weight. And he said to me, "You should know better." But actually, I never really crashed weight. I crashed weight once when it was the Mikhail Kessler fight in Denmark, because I flew out there late. But that aside, I just say that's the only altercation really I've had between me and another boxer. And I give Liam Smith respect for that, because he fronted it up. He stood in my face. He pulled me. He said, "You're out of order." And we had an amicable conversation. We ended up shaking hands. And now when I see him at venues, if I see him at a venue, we can say hello, be nice to each other, shake hands, and move on, because there's no problems. And this is the power of conversation. If people just spoke instead of shying away or talking bollocks in the background, stand and confront your issues, have a conversation. You'd be amazed what you can resolve. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever had any kind of beef with another fighter, and it's a fellow Scouser. I say fellow Scouser because I've married one. And yeah, fair play to Liam Smith. So it's been a really busy month for boxing. It's been busy for Froch on Fighting anyway. The Cobra's been to Saudi, he's been to Dubai, been all over the place, down in London. But that evening, the Ring Magazine Awards, with everybody in the same building, all these top fighters, past and present, all coming together, and to be able to talk to these guys and just get a couple of interviews and nick a few words off these people, it was just fantastic. All eyes now lead towards February 22nd, this massive card out in Saudi. It's another big bill. I mean, look at if you've not seen it, have a look at the lineup for this. You've got Beterbiev Bivol topping the bill. I'm excited about Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker. But the rest of the card's fantastic as well. We've got Hamza Shiraz on there. But we're going to do a pre-fight build-up to this mega card. And we'll obviously do the post-fight reaction and watch this space, because I'm probably going to be out in Saudi Arabia again with Froch on Fighting, the biggest and best channel in the business. Listen, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, and we will see you very, very soon.